We're halfway through the year, so let's get spooky. Hi, I'm Sarah and welcome to CoreMoodz. It's halfway to Halloween, so today I will be answering the questions of the Halfway to Halloween book tag. This tag was originally created by Happy Haunts Library. I'm gonna put the link in the description to the original video. I changed a lot of the questions to make it more bookish. So let's start. The first question is, do I like horror? And the answer is yes, I love horror. I love horror movies, I love horror books, I love anything horror. I love the aesthetic. Just the kind of content and the kind of art that comes out of horror is very impressive to me and is something that I've always connected with. I think the only thing that's a little bit too intense is horror games, because I feel like those get way too scary. What are my favorite horror books? It's a very hard question to answer because I have a lot of horror books that I like. And I think I made a video last year, I think, with a lot of horror books that I would recommend. So I think that's a starting point, because I would only recommend books that I really enjoyed. But if I have to think off the top of my head, I would have to pick The Changeling by Victor Laval. I think it's a very well written book, very atmospheric, very interesting way of tackling the folklore element that is at the center. I really love that book. And I think also When the Wolf Comes Home by Nat Cassidy, I feel like such a creative book. You can't guess, you can't expect. The Changeling by Victor Laval, I think most people know it's about what the Changeling is. There's this folklore. I'm not sure if it's Irish or if it's Scottish. And in that folklore, there are stories about creatures, fairies that come and they take your child, your baby, and then they exchange it with one of their own. So there are a lot of different kind of stories, from scary, very intense, and I think it's a very interesting folklore that I've always been fascinated with. So that's like the kind of loose inspiration at the center of the book, The Changeling by Victor Laval. And with When the Wolf Comes Home by Nat Cassidy, the focus of the book is where it starts with this child, and this child is terrified and running from something. And this woman who's had a horrible day makes contact with this child and in an attempt to try to help, but then things escalate and go in a completely different direction. What follows is one of the most creative plot progressions that I've ever read. It's so interesting, and so you don't expect it, you don't see it coming, it's not hinted, and I just love it when a writer does something this creative. There are also other horror books that stayed with me. I think The Patient by Jasper DeWitt is a book that really honestly scared me. The Patient is about this psychiatrist. He goes to work in this asylum, I think. He notices that there's this patient that everyone is ignoring and trying not to make contact with, and no one's going into his room. The one person that does go into his room to give him his food and medicine, something happens. He feels like everyone deserves good mental health care, so then he makes it his mission to care for this patient and to understand what is this patient's diagnosis, what kind of help does this patient need, and what ensues is a very scary, terrifying story. This is the one book that I've really had nightmares from. And there are, of course, books that my favorite, like Our Share of Night by Mariana Enriquez. I love this book. It's a story about a father and his son, the father's journey to escape this cult and how he's trying to make sure his son is okay. The trauma, the pain, the impact. And also it takes place in Argentina. There was some kind of a political unrest, but the core of the story is folklore, is ritual. And I think those are the kind of stories that really hit for me, because I come from a culture where rituals are very important and also very needed. So I think it's always interesting when horror and rituals or horror and folklore connect. And the last book that I want to mention is Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke by Eric LaRocca. This book is short, it's a punch to the gut, intense. It's about two people connecting in the early 2000s chat rooms, the way they connect, the things that they talk about, and how that escalates. Eric LaRocca did a lot in such a short book, and I really love the style. So the third question is, who are my favorite horror authors? That's also a very hard question to answer, because there are a lot of authors that I like because they have a certain style, and I don't really care about the story, so I'll read anything from them because I love their writing. And there are authors that their writing is not really the best, but the stories they tell always very interesting and engaging, so I keep coming back. But if I have to just list a few, I would have to say Victor Laval, Peter Jelly Clark, Tananarive Due, and also TV Butler. Her books are more sci-fi, but to me they qualify as sci-fi / horror. And I will also mention Nat Cassidy because I've liked everything I've read from him. I've liked Mary, I've liked Nestlings, and also I've liked When the Wolf Comes Home, and I'm anticipating his new collection that's coming out soon because I haven't read the Rest Stop yet. But I really like the way he researches, the way he's very empathetic. He's someone that's very thoughtful when he writes. I appreciate that in horror. The fourth question is, what are horror subgenres that I like? And I would have to say I like my horror psychological, I like it fast, and I like it weird. I like when a horror book is focused, or story is focused on survival. I like isolation. And when it's done well, I like it quiet and tranquil and paralyzing. I think horror is one of those genres that can cross over into everything because it's part of life and also part of the human imagination. So I just think it's such a genre that the authors can be very creative in. So I'm open to being surprised. The fifth question is, what are my most anticipated horror books of 2026? And I have a really long list. So I've decided to make a video, and that video will be available for you to view next week. The sixth question, am I into costumes and dressing up for Halloween? No, I've never been the kind of person that likes to dress up, but I've always been the kind of person, I love to, for example, makeup stuff that are artistic and very much gothic or Halloween-esque. To me, even special effects, I feel like it's an art to be able to recreate something like that. So even though I don't really dress up, I've always appreciated it when someone else does or when other people do. Seventh question, what are my favorite horror costumes from movies, TV shows, books of all time? I'm really thinking, but it's really hard because there are so many really good ones. But I would have to say I really like the, what is it called? Black Swan from that Natalie Portman movie. I like the costume for the White Swan and then the Black Swan that she performs in. I feel it's very dramatic, especially with the red eyes. There's also this, I think in the second Purge movie, there's this neon girl aesthetic that I find very haunting and also very beautiful, but also really something about it is very interesting. Also in American Horror Story Coven, Angela Bassett, she plays this character, Marie Laveau. She's like a black New Orleans voodoo witch. I love her look, the way she portrays the character, the costume, the makeup, her hair is done. I just really love that look. Angela Bassett is like one of the best actresses ever. Am I a fan of haunted houses? No, absolutely not. I've never been the kind of person who likes to be afraid. I don't like movies with jump scares, and I don't see a reason why I would ever go into a haunted house. I've been once. We were on a vacation, I think, in Italy. I'm not sure, some kind of amusement park by this lake, Garda, I think. We went there and there was this Halloween scare haunted house, something, and we had to go into it and then all in a row, not being able to see anything. That was not a pleasant experience. So I've never went into a haunted house before, and I never went into one after that. The ninth question is, what is my favorite ghost story or haunted lore? I think what I mentioned, the Changelings, that story I think is very interesting to me. Also Sleepy Hollow. I really love the whole vibe of Sleepy Hollow. And I think maybe I'm influenced by the Johnny Depp movie, but I just really love the aesthetic and the story. Also maybe not as traditional, but there is this backrooms thing story that was going on the internet about all these secret or weird empty rooms. There's going to be a movie I think coming out about this story. There's also this Japanese story about a man getting stuck in I think a metro station. It's called Exit 8 and it's also a game. That's also a movie that just came out. I've been really looking into it, trying to understand, because I don't want to watch the movie and not understand, is there a way to come out of this? Because I've really, on the one side, I'm very fascinated by these stories where people get stuck somewhere and can't get to where they want to go. But on the other hand, it's very terrifying. I think it's like one of the things I'm most scared of. Yeah, very interesting, but I'm anticipating watching Exit 8 and also the movie Backrooms. What are my favorite Halloween snacks? I think marshmallows. I really love marshmallows. And I would also just say hot cocoa. I think that's just a classic. We don't really have much Halloween related stuff in the Netherlands. So we don't really have Halloween snacks or something classic that people do. So for me, just hot cocoa and marshmallows, I think. What is one activity or experience that is on your spooky season bucket list this year? I think I just want to try to go into pumpkin field or something and getting a pumpkin and carving a pumpkin. I think that would be really fun. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the pumpkin after I carved it. So I'm going to have to be creative, or maybe there are workshops or stuff where you just decorate them and take pictures and that's it. So I'm going to have to look into it, but that seems like a really fun thing to do. The 12th question is, what book series or movie screams Halloween to me? I think when it comes to books. Let me think. Nothing beats the classics. So Dracula, I would have to say by Bram Stoker, and Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I feel like those books have like this haunting feeling that I associate with Halloween. When it comes to TV shows, there's like a long list. There's like Charmed, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, and also there's this series that I really loved called Penny Dreadful, which I really loved the aesthetic. And for a really long time, I really liked American Horror Stories, but I think that whole franchise needs to just shut down because I don't think the quality of the writing is there anymore. When it comes to K-dramas and Korean content, I would say Strangers from Hell. It's a K-drama that I really enjoyed. Very dark, very haunting. It's about this guy. He has to move to Seoul for a new job opportunity, and he can't get an apartment because he just started working. He didn't get his first paycheck yet. So he starts hunting for apartments, and he ends up in a very shady, odd place. The title is Strangers from Hell, but if you translate the Korean title, it's Hell is Other People's. I think it's very telling. And the main actress, Im Shi-won, and Lee Dong-wook is also in it. So it's two people that I would watch anything from, and they do a really good job. It's very scary and very intense. So it's a K-drama I would recommend. How do I typically spend my Halloween night? Well, I usually just watch a scary movie with family or friends, and we have snacks. And to me, that's like a perfect Halloween evening. What does Halloween mean to me? Well, just simply put, a fun, spooky time. You can make it as spooky or less spooky depending on what you want it to be. Because I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, I don't like horror. I don't watch horror movies. I don't read horror books." But I really think there's something for everyone. Something can be cozy, Halloween-esque, so it doesn't have to be scary. So anyone that wants to do this tag in any form, on any platform, you're welcome to. You're tagged. It's really fun to do tags. I forget that it's fun until I do one. Do you like Halloween? Are you a Halloween lover? Are you excited that we're halfway to Halloween? Do you have a list of answers to the questions I just answered? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and bye.